What is up, my fellow movie nerds? My name's Barry King, and I am that weird movie nerd. Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, directed by Stefano Sollima, and is starring the beautiful, handsome Michael B. Jordan. I've got to say, nah. That's all. That's all of the review. Just nah. I was hyped about this movie. I was so hyped. Michael B. Jordan's just cool, and when I watched the trailer, like half watched it because then again it wasn't really entertaining, the trailer, but when my parents said they were watching it, I was like, I'll watch it. It looks cool. And I was expecting like a John Wick-esque like task force assault team kind of thing. But no, we got like what every action governmental movie is about, and this movie just brought nothing new. Like, how in 2021 can you make a movie that doesn't bring anything new? Like, John Wick was so different because just of the action, it was gorgeous. But this one's just another movie. It's just a movie, and that's all it is. And like, the only thing good in this movie is Michael B. Jordan. That's like the one reason why probably anybody would watch this movie, other than them being bored and having an Amazon Prime account and going to watch this just because it looks half decent. Now, don't get me wrong, there are elements in this that like are cool. Like I said, wow, that's pretty neat. Like, for example, when John's in his house and he gets raided and his missus gets killed, how he had the flashlight and the gun and he was flashing the people who had the night vision on, and that was blinding them so he could shoot them so they couldn't shoot back as easily. That was dope. I haven't seen that yet. The prison cell fight was pretty neat. That kind of gave off like a superhero-esque, like Daredevil, Batman kind of thing, where like they're in such a small room and there's all this SWAT team, and then it's just like, yeah, bring it on, bro. Bring it on. I'll tussle with you. And the plane scene was definitely dope when that jet was flying outside, and it was kind of like in Jurassic Park, how like a T-Rex is like looking, and they're looking around and they look in the window and they're like, that's my prey. That was exactly what that scene was like, except it wasn't really done to a way that it could be as cool as that, though. It would have been cool if like they turned the lights off and tried to be sneaky, and then like the jet had like a light maybe, I don't know, or like just had the music go completely silent, cut the music, just have the sound effects, and then had like the idling plane and the idling jet outside. That would have been dope, but they didn't do that. They did it really stupidly, really boring. And then the scene where John dives and grabs the boat and all the stuff was really dope, how he just didn't hold his breath the whole time, because we've seen it a million times, but instead he went down and there was pockets of air. Like, of course there'd be pockets of air on a plane that's sinking. It'd have the air still in it in some areas, and that's just cool. That's just really cool details that should have been spread throughout this whole film, but there was just like tiny little crumpets of them. Why wouldn't you go for all in with those cool little details, just so you've got something different in your movie that distinguishes it against other action, governmental, assault team, terrorist movies? And can I ask you guys a question to why John Clark was such a necessity? Like, he was such a main character in this. And I mean, he's the main character, but like, he's treated like a main character. Like, you get what I mean? Why was he a necessity to go on this mission? Like, that woman who he was friends with said, no, you're dealing with revenge and guilt, and they still let him on the team. Like, I didn't get like why he was such a necessity. He wasn't like amazing at his job. He wasn't John Wick or the Batman of the team. He was just a guy who wanted to get back at the person who killed his wife and his little unborn kid. There wasn't much that made him special. He was just a person. And more than that, he was actually a liability, so it was stupid to bring him on the mission, I feel like. Somebody explain that to me in the comments if there's a reason behind it, or if I'm just like reading into it too much. And I just want to nitpick here on why John's recovery, his rehab, was so fast. We saw one scene, I'm like, oh cool, this is gonna be like maybe 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes max of the film, is him trying to get over this and dealing with his wife's death and trying to get his movement and abilities back. But no, it was like not even a 5-minute scene, and then he was just healthy again. Like, why would you add that in the film if it gives nothing back to the film other than just a more runtime where you can put stuff that actually matters? He could have just been in hospital for like, I don't know, a week, a month, I don't know how long it takes to heal a gunshot wound, and then that could have been that. And he could have just been maybe just training, not just doing rehab, just like lifting weights because he'd been in a hospital for a month. I'm kind of on the fence about the antagonist's reason about this. Like, their reasoning seems kind of justified, like they're trying to get their country to all strive towards a common enemy, just so that they're not all like fighting each other. But like, they didn't really expand on that or anything, or have any reason to go that way, because we didn't see that the country was at war with itself. I guess you can look at like everything outside the movie happening, but like in 20 years it's not going to be relevant. So like, you got to show like the world in strife and like at war against each other, and then like just this whole storyline of like planting Americans in Russia to like make them hate them and then want to have a war. Like, it just doesn't seem justified. It just seems like a villain thing, not an antagonist thing. Like, just a classical, oh, we're gonna turn the world against each other. Not just like, I'm doing this because I want world peace and this is the way to go. And then, no, we don't really get much reason to the reason as well. I just want to quickly comment on one scene that I laughed at, and that was when John drove the car off the bridge and he was just sitting underwater, just slowly drowning, and the camera just sat on him, and I'm like, what's happening here? And then it wasn't until the end of the movie that they showed what happened, but it was just like an awkward scene, just sitting underwater as the car filled up, just holding his breath. Now, I didn't actually see the post-credit scene to this movie when I was watching it, because I didn't know there was a post-credit scene. I thought only Marvel did that, but apparently everyone's doing that now. But I watched it on YouTube and I'm like, cool. Rainbow Six Siege. I've never played the game, never read the books or anything. It's a cool little Easter egg to have in there. And like, I'm excited for what they're doing in the future, having an expanded universe like no one else is doing at the moment. It'll be cool to see where this goes. I can't see it going anywhere though, because this movie sucked and not many people liked it, so we'll see what happens. Now that's my thoughts on Tom Clancy. Ow! And that's my thoughts on Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. It was meh. It was meh. I gave it a 1.5 stars out of 5 because it had cool elements in it, it had Michael B. Jordan in it, but other than that, it's just a movie. It's an action movie with action things and action people and bad guys and terrorists. We've seen it all before. There was nothing really new except for those like tiny little nuggets every now and again of cool stuff. If I said anything wrong in this review, if I said anything right in this review, if you want to talk about something further, then comment it below. I would love to banter, rant, talk with you about it. Also, if you've got any movies you want me to check out, to review, or just you think I'd love, then just comment it below and I'll add it to my very, 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 very long watch list, and I'll get around to watching it in, I'd say like the next 100,000 years. But thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next review.